Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode. This is the 13th episode of Keep It Effing Real show. We are officially live in Medellin, Colombia, where I believe is the Most High God lives. And why do I say that every episode? Because you have a beautiful weather here every single day. It's spring like here. The food are natural and organic. You're gonna find fruits and vegetables that you're not gonna find it anywhere else in the world. You have just everybody here just nice and happy, gorgeous people everywhere. So I'm your host, Pete Betiku, and have a special lady here with me. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Now, today's topic is polygamy. And we have none other than the king himself, the master, the guy that I've been following on IG for quite a while, and I've just been very impressed because he doesn't care about your feelings. He's very, very real, and what he posts, he's not looking for your own opinion. All right, he's a good-looking dude. He's rocking his own hat right now, which I've been asking for a few of them just to rock it as well. He's dressed like a king, none other than Kevin Wesley. Kevin is he's like I said before, he's involved in the polygamy. He's teaching it. He's got the courses. Now, society tells us that this is wrong. So we're here to prove to you that the fact that it can't be done. And I'm very happy to have this brother back again. There was a lot of people that wanted to hear from you again, brother. We had some technical challenges from the last show. So it's very good to have you back again. But first, before I introduce you, allow you to introduce yourself, I want my new host here to introduce herself. And she's very, very brand new. She's a beautiful young lady. She's 24 years old, speaks Spanish
Young.
and English. So
24 years young.
24 years young. There we go. So please introduce who you are.
Well, hi guys. My name is Manuela, and as he said, I'm 24 years young. I just learned that today. So you have
Yes.
look at life that way, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm just so excited to be here with you guys and very interested to learn all I want to know about the polygamous.
Yeah, polygamy.
Polygamy. Polygamy. So very excited.
All right. Well, we want to definitely turn to our guest, Mr. Kevin. You are
Yes,
live,
sir.
brother. Please introduce yourself. Where are you from? And how in the hell, my brother, did you get into this? What led you to become what you are right now? The teaching, the topics, and then again, we're just gonna politics right now. There's nothing scripted, ladies and gentlemen. This is coming straight from the heart, straight from the mind. We're not censoring any words. Questions are gonna be asked that most people will not dare to actually answer. So, Mr. Kevin Wise, Wesley, please tell us who you are, where you're from, and exactly how did you get involved with what you're doing now.
All right. First of all, King, man, I just want to pay homage to you. Thank you for having me onto your show again. It
Yes,
was a
sir,
great
brother.
time that first time. You got an amazing crowd that listens to you.
Yes,
When
sir.
you asked
Thank
me to
you.
come
Thank
back,
you.
obviously it was an honor. I'm obliged to be back.
Appreciate
So
that,
again,
King.
just wanted to pay homage to you, man, and your ancestors, just for manifesting you. I love everything that y'all doing, man. So
Appreciate
it's
that,
going to be
King.
a wonderful bill, believe me. All
I
right. So
appreciate that, King.
um,
So
just
first
to
and
get into it,
foremost, we just want to know
I'm sorry.
where are you from, brother?
I am from North Carolina originally. That's where I was born.
Okay. And you're living where now?
I'm actually back in North Carolina again. I moved all around though,
Okay,
so I
okay,
moved
okay.
back to North Carolina around like last year, and I
Okay.
moved there from Georgia.
From Georgia. Okay. All right. Well, I did post that I was gonna have you on the guest today, and my DM again went nuts. Okay. Literally about 15 women approach me and say, how is this possible? Is it legal? How is it able to actually work? So why did you decide this is the route that you want to go?
Well, I wanted to do something for my ancestors instead of myself. Okay,
Okay, great.
so a lot of us, man, we marry because we marry by way of the Western way because that's how we're told to do it. So we're taught to find one wife. Wives are told to look for one husband and get married on in paperwork, and then from there you're going to have your lives. Typically you're going to work for an employer. Most people over here anyway are not entrepreneurs, so
yes.
you're not really becoming your own resource. You just pretty much marrying off of love. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to look back and do it in a more righteous way.
Okay.
I saw that we were dealing with COVID and not knowing what was going to happen, and I wanted to protect my lineage with everything in me. So I began to manifest a union that I felt would be conducive for that. At the time, I was absolutely single. I had been married for many years, about 15 years.
Wow.
We had separated. We had been separated for about 4.5, 5 years.
Okay.
Is when I began to manifest this relationship. But I'll tell you guys why it's important to me. Just again, respecting my ancestors, we survive better together. Okay, so if you go back and you look at how we began, we were hunters and gatherers. We didn't have this matrix, and we didn't have this brick and mortar and all these things to survive in. We didn't go to work for someone else to survive. We actually created and manifested our own survival. So we hunted and we gathered. In order to do that, you need multiple people to do that.
Exactly.
What's happened with us now is we've been tricked into going into the matrix to get money for food. Now, money is paper. It is not real. The same amount it takes to print $1, it takes to print a 20. Now, what we do is we feel valuable and feel security the more money we have. But money is not a real thing that can fluctuate at any moment. So we wanted something that was real, which is heritage. So that starts with land. Again, real resources. Okay, so we wanted to grow our own food. If we do eat meat, which is very seldom, we're going to hunt for that. We want it to become self-sufficient. We saw that in COVID, you couldn't even buy food from the stores, and so if that happens again, I mean, what are we going to do if you see how this happens? And so us falling asleep to this matrix, basically what it did is it caused us to not value each other, but value money. You see relationships now where women and men alike are saying they're going to chase the bag, which shows you that we value things like monetary value more than we actually do people. And we are social beings. Like, we survive with each other as people, not things. So whenever you go back to how our ancestors practiced, you can see they valued family over things. And this is how you actually leave an inheritance. We're not promised tomorrow, man. So you look in this world, men are trying to leave an inheritance to our children, but we kind of got our backs against the wall because we're not promised tomorrow. We had a bad start because our parents didn't leave anything to us. And exactly how much does it take to leave an inheritance to your children? So that's a large number when you think about it, because you're thinking about leaving all of this money. But if you think about it by way of how our ancestors practiced it, it wasn't leaving money, because again, money didn't exist. So what are we working to leave our children? Land and resources. You see, so, and skill sets. To do this, you got to have time and focus on your children, not go out into the matrix and spend all of your time working and not focusing on your children.
There you go.
So I wanted to develop a family that was just like a tribe. That is a tribe. That we're about family. So number one, we wanted to create our own resource, not work for anybody. We were successful in doing that. Having multiple partners come together, this is it. We're able to do that quicker than a typical marriage couple, man and wife, because I have 2 wives. We always look at it like, what is it meant to be? So whatever our 3 minds are placed on, we are able to work to make that happen, not depending on anyone outside of us, but our own plan. So we believe in ourselves to be able to accomplish anything, and we've been successful in doing that. We protect each other, we provide for each other, and because of this love for each other, we've managed to live a happy life while in the middle of COVID. People are divorcing everywhere in the middle of COVID because obviously they're bound to the home and they realize they don't even like each other.
That's true.
And it's funny, but if you look at even a lot of polycultures, they actually suffer from more divorce during this time, because a lot of the poly men were actually having marriages outside of their own wives they didn't know about. And so when COVID happened, here they are now bound to the home, and they can't see the other wives, and it begins to be exposed. So in the midst of all these relationships falling apart, we've managed to build something that's flourishing and blossoming, because I believe it's because we're actually doing it with our ancestors in mind. It's difficult. It's like any other relationship. It takes work, but we often ask ourselves, do we want to choose our personal desires or our ancestors? You see what I'm saying?
Yep,
like, think about a lot of men today. They'd rather chase their loins than their actual destiny and purpose. So pouring into your family and pouring into that 1 or 2 women that you love is so much better and conducive to a healthy family than all these women everywhere. But a lot of times it's, I'm going to seek my desire over my inheritance. So I put my inheritance first.
Wow, that was actually deep, man. Well, just to go, let me ask you this. You say you used to be married for 15 years. I was also married for 10 years. All right.
Okay.
It was good for the first 5 years. After that, I feel like we wasn't seeing eye to eye. When I was trying to build my businesses and I would leave and come back, she would get jealous. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm trying to build a future. And I had a son at that time. So what made you guys go separate? Because what made me go separate was because I felt like she needed a help. When my son was actually born, and I told her to quit working, just like what you're saying right now, I was just having a conversation with our sister here. I
Mm-hmm.
say, it is our job, real man, there's only 2% of
Absolutely.
us. It is our job to make sure that we employed our own women to work with us, not work for us, to work with us,
Absolutely.
to be able to help them out and cultivate them to take their passion, their gift, and turn it into a profit. So, how did you change that mindset? And who actually told you? Was it mentor? Was it the Most High? Was like, you know what? Who just pretty much embed that in you? How did you come to realize that this is the better route for me?
It's wild, but let's just say, for lack of a better word, let's call it the Most High, man. It's something that came from within me. It
Mm-hmm.
resonated out of me. I just felt like, this is the right way.
Okay.
I always say that, true submission works both ways, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what you suffer from is what many marriages suffer from, and that is where they
Yes.
don't actually have true submission
Yep.
from their wives,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it is due to lack of understanding. I teach
Okay.
about this often, man. Like I talk about like a horse and jockey,
Okay.
how a jockey rides the horse's back,
Mm-hmm.
but if the jockey rides in fear, he'll hold the horse back due to being afraid about how
Mm.
fast the horse is going and whatnot. And
Yes.
sometimes that's what our wives tend to do. You either lead them with two energies,
Okay.
love or fear. If you're leading
Mm.
with fear, that's going to look like holding your husband back, telling him he's working too much because you value the time that you're missing more than
That's true.
his inbuilt need to make the family survive. So a lot of times this happens because she's not pushing the husband and not
Okay.
supporting him, when in reality, truly being feminine is
Mm.
understanding his mission. The more
Okay.
feminine she is, the more masculine he gets to be. If she
Okay.
understands his purpose is to provide, and
Yes.
that this actually makes him feel more masculine, it brings the man out of him. She
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't hold him back. You see this a lot with a lot of ladies who are married to entertainers. They're afraid that their husbands or even wives are going to travel the world and sleep with all these people. And so what they'll do is they'll kind of sabotage them or try to hold their career back, because if I ask the question to a lot of wives, would you want your husband's dreams to come true? And their actual answer was no, because if it came true, it would mean they would get less time with their husbands.
Wow.
And so what I
Wow.
try to ask, or ask all women to consider, is before you make a man your king, before you
Mm-hmm.
submit to him, look at the word submission in a different way. It doesn't mean that he is your ruler and you are now yoked to him and you have to do everything he says. It more so means follow a king that you can believe in. Submission. It means the mission that is not the main mission,
Mm.
but it's also an important mission, a sub mission. So you should find a king who your purpose can still be fulfilled while you support him. You shouldn't follow a king who you feel like you have to uproot and strip your whole life and you can no longer be you just to be with him. So a
Mm.
good king is gonna, like Pete said, see the good in you, see the beauty in you,
Mm-hmm.
and his mind can monetize that for you and turn that into an income, turn that
Mm-hmm.
into a resource by you doing what's beautiful, by you assisting him in his mission and journey.
Okay.
A lot of times,
Mm.
again, a lot of our women, they feel stronger because they're having a job, but that job is through a company outside of the home. You
Exactly.
can't pass that down to your children. So right now it feels good because you're getting a paycheck from them, but you can't leave that job to your children. So if she
That's
works
correct.
with her husband's business, this
Mm-hmm.
is something that they both can work to lead to their children. It's something you can actually pass down.
Mm.
I think a lot of it though is, that fear of completely submitting your life to a person that you might feel like can change their mind about you, maybe
Yeah.
cheat on you. And so they don't have the security a lot of times to say, I'm going to give up my job and truly trust this man with everything in me. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's because a lot of men don't display those qualities of masculinity to help them submit. You don't have to force a woman to submit, but if you master your masculinity, she'll want to.
She'll
Like
want to.
it's something that
Absolutely.
comes natural. Just like a man will naturally be masculine for a woman when
Mm-hmm.
she's in her feminine. It's like magic. He has to be. It's just a superpower.
Mm.
A lot of times trauma causes us not to be able to submit. So it's our fear. You know, a lot of times we hold our partners back.
I'm going to have our young lady here ask you a question, coming from a woman, basic perspective.
Yes, exactly. Because I feel like a lot of women just want to believe in the idea of love. You know, how love comes into play with all of these. Like, you always want to find the perfect one, the ideal match, your soulmate. Do you think, like, do you believe in that? Do you think that there's not only one person for each other, right? Um, but how love comes into yeah, in your life? What do you believe? Do you believe in love? Like, did you marry for love, or love comes after the marriage? I'm very interested in the concept of love for you.
That's beautiful. Great question. So my thoughts are like this: love is an energy. Love is an energy that we all can reach, and so is hate. I look at it like a radio station. Sometimes you can tune into a radio station and on the radio and you can hear it really clearly. And say if you cross over into a different city, you might lose that radio station.
Yes.
I look at it like when you can hear that radio station very clearly, that is love. And sometimes we reach that frequency with a person and sometimes we fall out of it. And you notice it's very easy to fall out and it's very hard to get there. So I feel like love is more so a reward. Now, and it can be a reward in terms of by two people working together to create harmony, and love can come from that. It's when you begin to feel joy in your innermost with a person. But then love can be like a gift, and in that way, I actually see it as like a gift from your ancestors, that love at first sight. Maybe it's something in your genes or DNA that needs to mix with this person, as DNA is just messages and energy, and therefore you feel this dopamine and this feeling of love, and so you instantly have it, and then all you have to do then is keep it. And a lot of times that it can fade as well. I try to tell people that when you're looking for love being like a consistent thing,
Yes.
that is over romanticizing the energy, because it's not that love isn't consistent. It's that we are not.
That's true.
We are not consistent. So we cannot stay in the frequency of love continuously. We'll fall out. We go through every energy, depression, sadness. All these things are emotions that completely embody us. So love itself isn't something that you're going to maintain. Think about it. You could buy a car or a house right now that you absolutely love. In 5 years, you may not love it anymore. It's the same car and house, but like sadness, even love doesn't last always. Okay. So it's more like negotiating. It's not about love so much. Just go back in time. A woman is looking for a man that can protect her. The reason is, if she's going to have a child while she's pregnant, she's going to be more vulnerable than ever. So she's going to need someone to protect her. Now, but she also wants this child to have good genetics. She wants this child to have the best chance of survival. And that's not just based on someone else's ability to protect her. She wants the child to have good genetics from within, so one day it can protect itself. And that means, finding a partner with those genes. That partner with those genes, she wants to negotiate with, that she's going to make sure he can take care of her and provide for her the duration of that pregnancy and even after that, because once she has this child in its infancy, she's even more vulnerable. And now she has this extra person outside of her. Now she's actually weaker in terms of being able to get food and gather food for now 2 people instead of 1. This is why it takes a tribe, family. So if you go all the way back and she says, okay, I'm going to, pick this king simply because I love him. What if he wasn't a good provider? What if he was lazy? What if he didn't have the territory to be able to provide and protect you? It just wouldn't be wise. And a lot of times this is what happens now. Women are in relationships with a guy who might turn them on, or they might love, but he doesn't have good leadership qualities, right? And he doesn't have good guidance qualities. He doesn't work hard. And now their relationship goes nowhere. They've been married 15, 20 years and they don't have anything. They're still renting. You know what I mean? They don't even, and it's because she's with a person who doesn't have any drive. And that's very important. So I encourage all men to always be working on and channeling your masculinity. Have confidence and be willing to manifest and work towards your dreams. This is how you stay masculine. And I always encourage our queens to always be working on your femininity. You must never adopt masculine energy for the long term. We have these energies. I have feminine energy. You have masculine energy as a woman, but you reach your fullest potential when you're completely in your feminine. you can go into your masculine when you're trying to protect yourself or survive. And that happens. But a lot of times when a woman and she's out here trying to survive, she develops the masculine qualities and become independent. And it becomes harder for her to be feminine for another man and let him take the lead because she's been taking care of herself for so long. Has to be somebody she can trust, you know, because again, fast forward to today. If a woman is with a guy and let's just say they have sex, he doesn't lose any value socially. However, she does. Well, if she gets pregnant, she loses more value socially and economically now if the relationship doesn't work. If it doesn't work, she now has another person she's raising. And most men don't want a woman that already has children. So now her value drops both ways. So I always say, make sure you choose your king righteously because you want someone who you can trust to have your back for the long term because most kings don't understand what that means.
Exactly.
I believe that if you impregnate a woman, that is your wife. Like you're supposed to take care of that woman, period. That's your wife, man.
That's true.
I don't care about paperwork.
Yep,
if you got a child with her, you're supposed to protect her because that's nature. You're supposed to. That's your little you.
That's your little
you know what I mean? And who's going to protect that better than you? Okay. You know, but a lot of men are not disciplined, and so they break up over anything because they don't have the patience to actually, you know, nurture things anymore.
Let me ask you this,
off, man. So yeah, I just say like love. Just know that love is not something that's going to be consistent. It's going to take work, but you can get into that frequency if you really work together. That masculine and femininity. And when you get it as a gift, when you meet someone and you love them first, like love at first sight, immediately begin to practice masculinity and femininity. Because I'm telling you, once you lose it, it's hard to get it back. You'll notice that the more you guys discover differences, the more it feels like you've fallen out of this, what seemed like a God-given love, you know?
That's true. That's true. Let me ask you this. So when did you come to realization? How did you meet both your wives? Was it at the same time? Was it you met one first and then you present this idea to her? Did she agree with it at first? Did she not agree with it? So how did that all come together? And then, are you guys all living in the same household?
Sure, good questions. So Jamie and I were married since I was 18 years old. 20 years old. She got pregnant at 18.
Okay.
Got married at 20. We stayed together until I was around 30. Separated from there, and around like 35, 34 is when I met Lacey. Okay. Lacey and I were dating for about a year, and I was already looking for poly. I was talking to Lacey about poly. Okay. Jamie, of course, she was jokingly saying that her next relationship would be poly, you know, and Jamie and I were just, you know, partner parents at this point. Best friends, always gonna have each other's back because as I believe like if you have children with a woman, then you ought to take care of her and provide for her. So even though I wasn't with her, I still made sure all her bills was paid. She didn't have to worry about anything. I made sure she was straight. She had my three children were living with her, of course, but I made sure she had everything that she needed. You know, but we weren't together romantically, but I was doing my part as I should, like I feel like a man should do. So Lacey and I dating about a year, and I didn't know who I wanted to be my poly partner as of yet, but some things had went on. I was dating a couple of women, and I realized that I was let me explain it this way because I don't want to make a short story long. Yeah. A lot of times when people have low emotional maturity, or they're very emotionally immature, they can't take what a negotiated thing and follow it through. So basically, I would tell women on the first date, I'm looking for a poly lifestyle. Don't know yet who all I want to do it with, but my thing was be with me until I learn who I want to be a part of my tribe. Let me vet.
So you're honest,
just like
right
any,
off the
any
pack.
natural person would vet, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so what happened is a few of those women, they actually got upset and tried to ruin my name publicly by saying, who all is Kevin seeing? So they started trying to, one girl made a video and wanted to see who all I was seeing. I guess she thought it was way more than I told her. Wow. You know, okay. And then I saw then the other girls get involved with that. Didn't know her from a can of paint, but it was just very embarrassing publicly to see all these women turn on me, and I didn't do anything wrong to them. But what they discovered is that I did not have anyone extra that they didn't know about. I was on the up and up, but it just made me realize that bringing new people into my life like that would actually be dangerous for my tribe, and I need to bring women into my life who I can trust, like really, truly trust. And at this moment, I was known worldwide. I was a motivational speaker known worldwide, so I've never had a problem getting a woman. Women find me attractive, so I didn't think that women were wanting me now for who I was, not how I looked. So I didn't realize that I was actually being used by a lot of these women, that they were actually wanting to be around me for my reputation's sake, because I wasn't always popular. I had just recently gotten like worldwide popular. So my reality, as far as I know, hadn't changed, because I've always gotten the attention from females, but I thought they were with me for who I was, not my family fortune or whatever. But it turns out they were actually, and you can tell when someone's using you for your energy.
Yeah,
but anyway, when that happened, right. So when that happened, it helped me realize how dangerous it was. All these people turned on me, and Jamie, instead of turning on me, she called me and poured into me, and just, it was at a moment where I really needed it. And so this is my children's mother, of course, the woman I was married to.
Okay.
And the love that I had for her just came back strong. It just helped me see, this is the person. And so what I did is I went to Lacey, and I said, Lacey, I know who I want to be a part of my tribe. And she asked who, and I said Jamie. And she looked at me and she said, honestly, I would have it no other way. And she was like,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
like
cool.
I already like Jamie. I followed her. I've looked her up. And so I gave them numbers so they could talk. They met up, sent me a screenshot of them on their first date, just a friend date to meet up. And when I saw that picture hit my phone, I was smiling from ear to ear.
So are you guys all living in the same house as well?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we got a house shortly after that, man. I wasn't playing around.
Okay, that's what's up, King. That's what's up, King. So how do you guys do the internet? I'm gonna leave a question for you next. How do you do the intimacy? Like, do you schedule the sex? Or is it a threesome, or is it at different time zones?
Absolutely, it's different times. We're all heterosexual. Jamie and Lacey are not intimate at all.
Okay.
Late Mondays and Tuesdays, Jamie and I spend our days together.
Okay.
Wednesday and Thursday, Lacey and I spend our days together. And on the weekends, those 3 days, I spend time, doing my work and traveling and speaking and spending time with my children on those days. So we do try things in those days. So we're always together. But
always together.
like even today's, Lacey and Jamie. I mean, Jamie is my day today and tomorrow, but Lacey is here. I'll see Lacey throughout the day. Every time I, walk around, I go.
That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
And they don't get jealous of each other at all, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's awesome.
Now, I will say, in the beginning, we had those growing pains. So I want you guys to know that you are going to have a melting stage where you're going to have growing pains. So, just know you're going to get rid of that Western stuff, Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, yes. So are you planning to, in the future, to maybe add another person, or is two, like, right now good? Or
Yeah, so absolutely. Two right now is perfect, absolutely perfect for me. This is how I saw my vision, so I don't plan on messing with it any. I'm so happy with what I have, man. So these two queens actually fulfill me, and they do so wonderful by me. It wouldn't even be room for anybody else. I would honestly just be being greedy if I asked my wives to allow me to have another partner. They fully, there's no holes. Trust me, they are amazing.
That's awesome, King. So how did you discover? How did you finance their actual business to where they're working for themselves? Did you help them out, or did they already have money on their own?
No, I completely financed it all. So Jamie, of course, she was working for a restaurant, and Lacey was working for a bank. And basically, I just asked them. I found out what they made, of course, per year. Okay. And I wanted to take care of that for them to come and just be able to support me in my business, and me give them roles inside of my company. Now the thing was, though, I didn't just want to do that. Okay. Now me giving them roles inside of my company, that was going to cover their salaries, but I didn't want them to just be working for me and feel like they're now bound to this man. And they don't have salaries outside of me, so I wanted to help them manifest their own entrepreneurial businesses, which I have done. So Lacey, of course, is a life coach. She was already beginning to do that, but of course, she was working full time. I helped her to be able to manifest where she could fully do that. So she has more than enough clients now that she makes way more than she ever did at work.
That's awesome.
And Jamie, her art, and she actually, I hired Jamie as my assistant in my back office as far as my clothing store and all. And so Jamie does all stuff behind the scenes, all that stuff that I really hate doing. So I look at it like this, guys. Like, they're going to be like a puzzle piece to you. The places where you are weak, that's where they're going to be strong.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So
I agree.
Don't ever be the one that's supposed to provide everything, because that'll burn you out as a man.
Exactly.
We never provided everything. We put the food on the table. It's not just the man. Just in simple
That's absolutely
terms,
true.
if you bring home a deer, if you're a hunter, she
Hmm.
is the one who puts it on the table. You only bring it to the house. So she's
Exactly.
going to skin it and prepare it and know all the ingredients and
Absolutely,
all this for
brother.
you. And
Absolutely.
if you try to cook it yourself as a hunter, you wouldn't even like it. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So
Absolutely.
you have to value what she brings to the table. You know what I mean? She
Absolutely.
makes
Yep.
that food delicious, and that food gives you the strength to go out and be able to hunt tomorrow. You could not do it without her.
Hmm.
You couldn't. You need that. You need that
Wow.
queen. A lot of times, just like we're fighting for leverage
Hmm.
on who's most important. You know, we're yin and
Hmm.
yang. We're equally
Yeah.
important. We're
Equally
one.
important.
It's not a. We're not equal. We are one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're looking
Absolutely.
for someone to work with.
Man, first and foremost, King, I definitely want to applaud you on that because not a lot of brothers have the mindset, the know-how, or the patience to do what you do to retire their girlfriend or their wife. So first and foremost, salute to you that you are definitely a prime example of how we're supposed to be living in this Western world. Now, the word tribe, I hear you say that a lot. What do you mean by that? I mean, I know what you mean because
Mm-hmm.
I'm already in the same frequency as Asher you. So what do you mean by the tribe?
So to me, I look at a tribe as a unit who sticks together
Okay.
with a purpose in mind to grow your ancestry. Everyone thinks with their lineage in mind. So you're
Hmm.
not just thinking about, family has, you got your cousins and aunts and uncles, and they all
Exactly.
got their places, and everybody's trying to do their own thing individually. But
Hmm.
a tribe is thinking about their inheritance, their heritage going forward. Every move they make is about their heritage. We don't spend money frivolously. We spend it together.
That's what's
We
up.
help each other's businesses.
Okay.
And our goal is to buy a city, and all of us live within that city and buy all the land up, and
Okay.
not have houses in all these different places, but all on the same land, and grow all of our food together and all that stuff together. So not just a typical family, like I say, lives in that just lives and goes to work every day. No, like when you look at us, I want you to see a modern
Hmm.
tribe, a family who is its own resource. We don't go to work for anybody to get money.
That's
if
what's
if
up.
if all the places shut down, we still can eat because we got the food right there in our backyard. See,
That's
no
awesome.
animal works for money and buys food. They go straight and get the food. We are under a
That's true.
spell because while
That's
there's
good.
fruit trees, vegetables all around us, we
Yeah.
drive straight to that place and work for that person and go buy the food
Wow.
when there's food all around us. Like we're literally under a spell. And so we got to
Wow.
wake up because we're only going to survive if we wake up.
That's correct. I got a really tough question for you, and Manuela can probably help me with this as well. Now I live in Colombia. Okay.
Okay.
Colombian women are the most jealous women that I've ever encountered in my life. Not that it's a bad thing, because now that I live here, I see why. Because they take care of themselves.
Possessive.
Yeah, they're very not even jealous. It's possessive. It's very
Okay.
like this is my man. Like I've met a couple girls on day one, automatically they think that we're going out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I see why they like because they take care of themselves. They're
Mm-hmm.
very obedient. I mean, they're most gorgeous women that I've ever seen in my entire life. They're
Mm-hmm.
very respectful. So how do you come into a country where what you're talking about right now, it's like hell to the no. Okay. So how would you introduce the polygamy, not because for sexual reason,
Sure.
but for what you're saying, because a lot of women here, they do need a lot of help, just like some of the men out here. So how would you even bring that topic up and make it reality?
Well, my first advice would be mention it early and often because, a lot of times, and I don't know how it is over there, but over here, if you already have a girlfriend,
Hmm.
she's more lenient about it. But if you lie and say you don't, then she's gonna, of course, hold you to a higher standard or a different
Yes.
standard.
Yes.
So I always
That's
tell
actually
men
true.
honest and upfront. You can tell her straight up. I do not date in a typical way. I'm a poly. I date. I'm a polygamist.
So
Uh,
be honest right away.
Right. So you want to let her know
Okay.
right away. And if she says, I'm too jealous for that, of course, you can say, I do understand that perspective, obviously.
Hmm.
However, polygamy is not about that. It's actually about working together to achieve a common goal. So if
That's
you work
perfect.
with other females, then you probably would be great at polygamy
Hmm.
if you did not hold the jealousy and
Okay.
all that can be worked out. That's just all by
Okay.
how we were raised. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you can definitely do that. If you understand this is our king, not your king,
Yep.
it's totally different.
It's
So
totally different.
they're not jealous with their fathers. It's our father, it's our mother. But it's
That's good.
how we're taught growing up that this is
Okay.
your, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
if you see it
exactly.
different, yeah.
So, Manuela, can you elaborate more on the question? That's because you are a Colombian woman, right?
I am
You're
Colombian.
Paisa, right?
I am
Okay.
Paisa.
All right. So, based on what you hear right now, can you ask a question related to, do you think this system can work in Colombia?
I feel that it's so weird because talking about the history part, we weren't originally monogamous, right?
Yes.
That changed in history somehow. I would love to actually to know when that happened. I think that the main thing here is that because we're very conservative, but right now it's because the monogamy side. But still, you have a lot of men that cheat. Here, it's very common. It's very common that men cheat, and women almost like accept it. It's almost like a fact. So of course, it will be like will make a lot of sense for this to happen here, but I don't know if the community is gonna accept it. Like, I think that it will work for the best for each individual person, but in the community maybe they don't want to admit it, and it's also because of the legal part. I'm curious because, like, you are now living in the U.S., right? But you were traveling a little bit, right? Also, like, if you're in a country that is not legal, like, how does that work? Because I think here the government will never accept that.
Really?
I
Okay.
think the government here is very conservative and will never accept it.
Okay.
So in the US, it's pretty progressive. So is
Yes.
it legal there, or you just don't care about the paperwork and you just have your relationship without the
Very good
paperwork?
question. Very good question.
Yeah, I would say that when we evolve socially, therein is when you can talk about like I guess laws beginning to change to accompany us. And
Hmm.
she is right. It's we're progressive more so in the Western world, like Utah. It's already
Utah law.
legalized
Yep. Yep.
polygamy. But here's what I suggest, guys. Like you look at marriage, that's a government paperwork. You can have a solidified relationship without a marriage document. You can have
Hmm.
contracts that you guys can sign up and have that
That's
amongst
actually
one
true.
another.
That's actually
Yeah, and
true.
I would like to ask the queen, like she said, she talked about, you know, in how things are in Colombia and how they accept that men cheat. So I want to ask you this question. Let's take that idea that, you know, of course, men cheat there and it's acceptable. And that's like worldwide. They say men, you know, obviously men are going to cheat. But imagine this: if you were to ask the Colombian women, would they rather have a man who obviously cheats like every other man that they obviously like the cliche is, or would they have a man who he doesn't cheat, he's honest, but it's not that he doesn't sleep with other women or has another woman. You just know who she is. Now, he doesn't sneak around with her. You know exactly who she is. Not only that, he provides for all of you. You guys all work together to make sure that you have a cohesive family. He protects all of your children by this one man, and all of you guys work together to make sure that you survive. Um, isn't that a lot better than having a man who cheats? Because this means that he can now spread his seed to someone outside of your family, obviously outside of someone that you know about. And now
Hmm.
this woman could likely weaponize that child against him, getting him for child support, psychologically manipulating him through this child, telling him he can't
Yeah.
see his own child, you know. And we know how a lot of times women can do with a child. So it's
Hmm.
very important that you know who you're passing your seed to. And if a man is just saying, hey, I'm cheating, that's very dangerous to his tribe or the family unit he's trying to build, because he risks spreading his seed outside of his tribe. And if he's trying to leave a lineage and inheritance to his tribe, how is he going to be able to do that if he's spreading his seed everywhere? It's better if his seeds were all on the same land. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you go back, this is what you would want, because if you had one woman, that's actually very dangerous, being that 50% of marriages, 50% of births are related to a death. Women just, the survival rate for childbirth was very low back then. And so
Hmm.
likely she wouldn't even survive the birth. And so if you didn't have any woman to nurture her and nurture the baby and be able to feed it with breast milk, how are you going to survive? So
Mhm.
you had multiple queens to be able to do that. You had a tribe. You had to have that,
Hmm.
you know? And so now we don't have that because, of course, the structures have changed due to brick and mortar and this matrix. But if you really go back, the natural order of things is we haven't changed, even though our societies have. You know, we haven't changed. If you started making ant hills out of cement, trust me, the ant is still you'll need to make it out of sand. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just,
exactly.
And I think that the key thing here is the honesty, because you said that, like, you need to be
absolutely.
honest up front. And yeah, that's how you will start evolving and changing into this.
I used to be like that. Like I never like I used to not tell women because I didn't want to hurt their feelings when I was, married. But now I'm very upfront, and you'll be more surprised that when you're upfront, a woman, she likely will be okay with it versus
Absolutely.
For
you
sure.
finding out. That's what I find out versus her finding out maybe on social media or maybe she's going through your phone. Oh, you didn't tell me this and that. I find out guys that are doing what you're doing, King, they are more successful because of it. And women want honesty. You know what I mean? So I believe what she's
What's gonna
saying
happen?
is true. Yes.
Right. Here's what's going to happen when you cheat. She will likely stay with you because a lot of times women will put up with that where a man won't. So
Yes.
she will likely stay with you, but you won't likely get submission from her. And because what you got to understand is when a woman is submitting to a man, it's much more difficult because
Yes.
honestly, you got to think about this. She has to trust this man to really
Once
do right
again,
by
yeah.
her.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Really
You're right.
trust him.
You're right.
Trust
You're
his,
right.
his guidance and all. So if he's
Okay.
cheating on her, he looks like a liar. So how can she really trust him? And that's part of being feminine is trusting your man, right? Part of being feminine is supporting your man. If he leaves out the door and you don't really trust him to be where he say he's gonna be, how can you truly support him? If he doesn't do what he says he's gonna do, like if he say he's over here, but really he's over there, how can you really support him? You know what I'm saying? Like as kings, we got to do what we say we're gonna do. Like even if it's not about cheating, if we say we're gonna start a business, if we say we're gonna do something, we got to do it because they're listening. And a lot of times the reason they don't trust us is because we've led with the pattern that told them that we all talk. Like and they're not the only ones who don't trust us. A lot of times it's our friends and family too. But we really need our wives to trust us. So when they express doubt, it really hurts our feelings. But here's the reality, guys: is she's always going to be the physical representation of your spiritual world. So your wife is like a spirit. It's like notice they call her intuitive, meaning she lives in the spirit realm. She feels your emotions without understanding. So if you feel doubt, she's going to express doubt to you. She doesn't even know why. She just feels doubt, and so she's going to come to you, and she's going to be sounding like she doubts you, and that's going to offend you. But really, you've had these thoughts somewhere in the back of your mind as well. She's just the physical representation of them. You know what I mean? So if you feel fear, she's going to express to you that she's scared. You have to understand, put out is what you get. So the energy that you feel, that's pretty much the type of wife that you're going to embody. You see what I'm saying? So if your wife is really fearful, you have to think, what am I doing to cause her to feel that way? Because she ain't just going nowhere and being scared on her own. You see what I'm saying? Are we dropping the ball? Are we fearful in our own mind? Do we believe in our own plan?
Let me ask you this. We got about 7 minutes left for the show. I got 3 more questions that I want to run at you, and I'm sure, man, you want to ask some as well. So want to try to keep the answers short, and so that way we get to these questions. Let me ask you this, King.
Sure.
Society teaches us what directly in America, right? That divorce is bad. Okay. Do you believe if your wife or husband is not fulfilling because this is also in the Bible allows say that divorce is okay, but society feels like no, divorce is actually bad. But I feel like they're making money off of it because once you file divorce, you created seven jobs. Okay. So do you feel like if your partner is not doing their duty, is it lawful to divorce them to find somebody who will fulfill that department?
Absolutely. It is. But again, you always have to ask yourself, is it worth it to you? No, you don't have to stay in any situation, family, that isn't, fulfilling you. But
Yes.
you always have to ask, is it worth the rebuild? Because you have to be accountable to walking away from somebody too. And life will likely start over. You are going to have to deal with that trauma and rebuild a whole nother relationship. And
Yes.
the chance to find someone who will work with you isn't 100%. So you always have to think about before you give up this person, you know, what else is gonna be out. And I guess you shouldn't think like that. It should be more so if you can deal with what the person is giving you,
That's
you know,
correct.
not really,
Okay.
but I understand. And I do understand people working together also. So
Mm-hmm.
again, if you have a lot of children and stuff like that together,
Yeah.
I suggest
Mm-hmm.
trying to work out and think. If I'm talking to a man, I'm asking him. I would ask him to consider his lineage,
Yeah.
and if even if she can't fulfill all the duties, in some ways you might have to, you know, honestly pick that up or figure out another way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times all that comes from just not taking the time to work with each other.
Yeah. Okay. Manuela, do you have any?
Yes, I'm curious to know, like, the people that were around you, your family and your friends, how did they react to this change? Did they all accept it? Did they share with you? Did maybe you convince some of your friends to also go that way?
Yeah, it's mixed emotions. More of my family, of course, they were against it. My male family members, of course, they're like, "Yo, bro, that's dope," you know. And, you know, my female cousins like, "Kevin, I can't believe you would do that," you know, and so you know, it's mixed emotions, definitely, you know. But I can say my male cousins are definitely in my corner fighting for me. And for some reason, they want this to go the right way.
So I got two more questions too. Are you open to coming to Colombia? I know you and I talked about this. Are you
Mhm.
open to coming to Colombia and doing in pop? Because right now it's crazy how we're having this actual call. I got approached by a 52-year-old woman, right?
Mhm.
This is a prime example of what you're talking about. I've worked with this woman in the past. She reached out to me and say, I need you to mentor me. Now, I made a
Mhm.
post about a month ago that, and I say a man, a well-rounded man like yourself and myself and Spot, our job is to lead women. Some
Mhm.
women attack me and say, no, 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 I'm a leader myself. They got that Tyler Perry, Oprah mindset. You don't need a man. I could do that all by myself. But then when I look at the IG, they're suffering. They're posting pictures of their body and themselves trying to get attention. So this
Mhm.
woman, I say, okay, are you sure you want the truth? Because it's gonna be harsh. It's not gonna be easy. And I'm like, are you single or you married? And she say, I'm single. I'm looking for a man. I'm looking for a king because she didn't do some of the things that like there was no man to really guide her. She's a
Mhm.
great, powerful woman. I love her to death. But when she reached out to me, I felt the privilege to really teach her and guide her to the right. So how would you, when somebody at that age, because it's very hard to change their mindset versus dealing with somebody who's in their 19, 20, late 30s, how would you approach that?
Well, first of all, I would love to come out there with you, man, and be able to, you know, see the beautiful city, man, and work hand in hand with you.
Yes, sir.
Uh, but I'm like you. I hear that a lot as well. Women saying that they don't need a man and all that good stuff. I tell them, I try to explain to them that in order to survive, we need each other. You know,
Hmm.
and the universe has a language, man, that is trying to let us all see, and you
Yeah.
just got to pay attention to be able to see it. You know, like
Hmm.
we cannot procreate unless we have each other. You
Okay.
know, we just cannot, and we cannot leave an inheritance to our children
Hmm.
unless we work together to do it. You know, a woman who does not support her man, she
Hmm.
will 100% keep him from leaving an inheritance to his children. You see
Hmm.
what I'm saying? A undisciplined woman will destroy a family, just like an undisciplined man will. We always talk about how it takes two. Now you can go through this life on your own if you want to. You can do that, but
Yes.
again, it a lot of times it equals misery
Hmm.
because you don't have that counterpart to be able to pour back into you. We shouldn't be doing this on our own. No man should be doing it on his own, and no woman should either. We're better together. We're stronger together.
That's correct. That's correct. Miss
I
Manuela,
like
do
it.
you have the last question for Mr. Kevin Weiss Wesley here?
Hmm. Um. Okay. To summarize, how do you see? I like. How do you convince people on our one quote that they should look into polygamy and start seeing this as a new way of living life?
Great question. So I try not to convince anyone. What I try to do is get people to think about again, how they would like to live their life. Is it going to be for you, your desires, or for your ancestors? What is the most conducive way for you to leave something to your inheritance, to leave a stronger generation, to replicate yourself in the best possible situation? I believe that life is about recreating yourself and then pouring all that information into your future self. And that is your key of getting into the future. You cannot get into the future unless you have a child. Now, other animal species are willing to throw themselves on the sword just to procreate. They'll die just to be able to procreate and have sex and have access to a female. Spiders do it all the time, and other animals do it all the time. We don't have to do that. We don't have to die to have a child. And I always tell people, except that we do. We die. We have to be willing to die and put our own desires to the side so we can raise our future selves to be the best they can be. And honestly, that could, for our future, that could look like tribing up. You know, life is going to get harder. It's not going to get easier with all these diseases and things like that. And it's just better to be safer. And again, we're not promised tomorrow. So how can we leave an inheritance to our child? Like Pete can tell you, man, as men, we think about this all the time, and we can work to save as much money as we can today, but man, we have to live a long time and stack good days on top of good days to be able to have what we would call an inheritance.
There
so
you go.
King, like, let me buy some land, you know, let me buy something I can leave to them. Let me start a business that I can pass on to them so they can work it, because I might not be able to leave them millions of dollars, you know? And so if you're thinking about your future self, you wouldn't just be saying I'm dating frivolously for love and I like this guy's look, so I like her butt. You know, you would actually look for qualities in a person. Are they disciplined? Are you disciplined? You'd have sex with intention rather than just sleeping with anybody, because you know that energy exchange is everything. It's a sacred act. So you'd make sure that you wouldn't share your body with people that you could have a child with, someone that you know wasn't in their right mind or wasn't ready for a child. You'd only do, like I just say, live like a king or live like a queen if you plan on raising queens and kings. You know what I mean?
Yep. I got my last question before we give our final thought. I'm sure you heard of the brother Kevin Samuels. Okay. Giving it to the sisters raw. I mean, that's how he came. I've been following him for a long time before he became popular. He was kind of speaking to men actually, but when he started going at women raw, it's like, you're not this, you're that. How do you compare yourself to him as a public figure? Do you agree with what he's saying? Because I'm the same way. Like, I keep it real with women to say, this is the reason why you suck. This is the reason why you're failing, because you're not doing A, B, C, D, and D. You're not at the gym, but you're fantasizing about a man that's very, very nicely fit. But you're not taking care of yourself. You say you want a 7-figure man, but what are you willing to bring to the table other than sex? So do you agree with his philosophy versus what your philosophy is?
I do agree with being straightforward as far as constructive criticism goes.
Okay.
It does seem worse when we're telling a woman where she can grow and where she can melt in life to become better, because a lot of times she wasn't taught to be accountable to those type of things. She's not taught to be successful, and that's how she earns her value in life. Men are taught this. So women live more in a fantasy realm. You know, if you think about it, they grow up playing with dolls, and so they got Ken and Barbie. Well, Ken buys them their first mansion, not a trailer, not a small house, and Ken buys them their first Barbie convertible, not a Geo Prism. You know, so a lot of times she grows up with big expectations, but not really knowing how.
Wow, that's good.
So I think
that's good.
A lot of it with the red pill community is they're blaming the woman for how the woman is. She can't help it. Now, this hypergamous stuff for her, dating for things, dating for money, women wanting a high value man. This is what I would say about Kevin Samuels. The one bit of data that I think he may be missing is women lose way more value when they have sex than men do. So it actually makes more sense that women have all these requirements surrounding sex. So if a woman, say if a woman slept with you, Pete, you don't lose any value at all.
Not at all.
But if she slept with you even for money, after you've given her this money, you can earn that money back, no problem.
Yes.
But she can never get her social value back from sleeping with you. So she can never get that back. You understand?
That's true.
So you understand how with a woman saying, wait a second, every time I give it up, I lose value.
You lose value.
So if in the red pill community, they're saying, don't give her anything unless she puts out. But if she does that, she's going to diminish in value expeditiously, in Morgan Freeman's voice, right?
Yeah.
Like So if she can't go around giving her body to everybody and keep her value at the same time, she cannot.
That's
so
true.
she would have to practice discipline.
That's
and
true.
so
That's
how
true.
does she know that you're really interested in her? I mean, I guess you shouldn't go buying a bunch of gifts because we've learned that that turns her off. But it should look like effort. A man should put forth more effort and time if he's not willing to give her money and things. You see what I'm saying?
That's what
Because
you're
you
saying, brother.
why
Yep.
she has to have a little value in exchange. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. That's
Now,
what you're saying.
for a woman, it shouldn't be things. It should be attributes that the man shows her, like attributes that he can be a good leader and king and father and stuff like that. A lot of times, women are dating for what the man can do for her, like her personal and emotional needs, and she's not looking for a father to her future child. And a lot of times, that a man should be looking for the mother to his future self, and a woman should be looking for a father to her future self. If you're looking for a boyfriend, you're probably not going to vet for those other qualities that you should be looking for, and you may find out later that they don't even have them. And therein lies your horrible relationship. He was a great boyfriend or girlfriend, but horrible dad or husband. You see what I'm saying?
That's what you mean. Yep. Well, last and final, we normally do a final thought. We give wisdom and advice out here. I'm gonna ask Manuela, what, based on what you've listened to today, what advice would you give to women now that you understand what is, polygamy? Your thought.
I think that women should be more open to this mentality because it's actually a gain for us. Like there's nothing to lose. Literally, we're having stability and honesty, and a man who can provide for us. Like there's nothing like bad from that. Is on the contrary, it sounds amazing. So I will recommend definitely people to be more open to it and start studying a little bit more about it. And yeah, maybe they can contact you also on Instagram and
Yes.
answer some questions because, of course, it's very interesting.
Yes. We're gonna put your brother King. I have your content, your IG. I'm definitely gonna put that up so that way when we post this on YouTube, we're gonna put your information, stuff that you're selling. Like I said, I want that hat by the end of this month, King. All right. And I want that whole outfit. Actually, the whole outfit, I want to rock it. So is that your outfit?
It is. It is.
Man, that's kingship, brother. Like I did
Thank
a show literally last week, and this show was a powerful show. It was just me that we need to stop rocking Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Mark, Jacob, because they're not doing nothing to the community.
Right.
Zero. Like I did that. I was like, I need to start rocking what you wearing. You need to start rocking what I'm wearing because there is a value behind of what we put out. So
Absolutely.
I did that segment. So I definitely want to know if you have a website, want to drop that contact. So for our listeners, can you give under 1 minute? Can you give your final thought of everything that we just talked about?
Sure. I would say I would urge you all to just be more intentional with how you date, how you move about, how you manifest your relationships. And I think you do that by focusing inward. If you manifest your best self, you will vibrate the best person possibly to you by being your best self. You never really have to focus outward. The key is focus inward. So my advice to all men, work on your masculinity, work on manifesting, work on your self-confidence, work on your body, kings, work on your discipline and consistency. Have a workout plan. Do something to help your body every single day because you got to be a protector. You got to be confident. And if you're doing those things, basically what you do is you turn what you produce into your validation and you stop seeking the validation of others. Okay. So a lot of times men will end up simping because they don't have value in themselves. So they pay for it. They don't just simp with women, they simp with men and women in their lives. Simp with everybody, not just one person. And to women, I would say practice your femininity. Always be working on cooking. Always be looking up different recipes. Always be cleaning. Because even if you're by yourself, you're going to cook for yourself. You're going to clean for yourself. These are not negative traits. This is actually beautiful when you embrace it. A woman that can cook, she can make her man healthier because she can cook food that's more nutritious. She's the first doctor. He doesn't get sick all because of her. Look at how we die all the time. Look at how much we spend on medications. If she's in the kitchen, if she understands it, she can cook for him, never having to explain to him diet at all. He'll just enjoy the food and the whole family will be healthier, smarter, and more beautiful. Skin and everything will be vibrating because she grasped her power. a lot of times we don't grasp our power. So know your superpower lies within your femininity, queens. And that's it.
Beautiful, man. And my final thought is, women, even men, but women, be more open, like Manuela say. Be more open, because here's the reason why I say that. When a woman have a beautiful purse, right, or when she got her brand new shoes, or when she get her nails done, she's very pleasing to show it off. Here's what I got. Here's what I'm rocking with. But when you have a good man, which is very hard to find, you don't want to share. It's not because he's looking for sex. It's because a good thing should be shared. When we see a good movie, you tell everybody about it, right? When you eat at a good restaurant, what do you actually do? You tell somebody about it, right? So the way that Kevin, King is actually living, that's how we need to go back. It's all in biblical, and it's very successful. So ladies, just get the sexual thing out of your mind and look at helping. How valuable is it to be not having to worry about daycare because you have another woman that's at the house that's taking care of your kids, not some stranger who doesn't care. Now they're teaching your kids something different from what you're teaching from home. It's very confusing. So I would say look at it as a tribe. How's they do it back in the days? The Indian tribe, the Israelite tribe. Just look at it as a way to actually grow, to empower each other, and to let a good man lead you to greatness. And don't listen to the public. Don't listen to any of the media. And I would say, King, work on yourself, like you said. Get in the fucking gym. She doesn't want no big ass belly man, okay? And then learn how to manifest. Learn how to meditate. Learn how to operate like a king, not as a slave. And help each other out. Learn from another brother. Don't be like, yeah, I don't want to learn from this nigga here. Learn from him, so that way you can acquire his knowledge, his actual wisdom. And that's my time. Brother Kevin, Wesley, King, we appreciate you for being on this. I can't wait to post this. We're going to edit it. And I promise you, brother, your phone, your DM will be ringing, because this is a topic that most people don't want to talk about. And I'm glad. And Manuela, this is her first show with me. Excellent job. The question you asked was phenomenal. So, King, we appreciate you, brother. I love you, and I want to see you in Colombia. If I have to fly you out here myself, I would definitely do that. Okay. Yeah, and
you will
trust
enjoy
me, brother,
it.
it's a beautiful country. I've yet to have a brother say, "Man, I'm never coming back." Either they want to move out here or live out, because there's more freedom out here, right? So we are planning on doing some type of empowerment event here in Colombia. I've already got the location. I'm gathering all the leaders. Like, these are top level leaders. Okay, we're gonna be out here. It's gonna be about money, the cryptocurrency, and my second book is gonna be out as well. So we just want to empower people, but we don't want to do too much in the United States because it's just bad. So I appreciate you, King. Thank you for being on the actual show, and I look forward to doing this in real life. Take care, everybody, and be blessed.